Conservative politicians, pundits, and parents groups have been fiercely attacking school boards across the country, demanding that drastic action be taken immediately to protect our darling children. Sorry. Our darling white children.
And we have such a hard time getting teachers. I know it's such a hard job. You'll have a hard job getting teachers. Very hard. People just don't want to be teachers anymore, and I get that. It's hard. But Sci-Fair has, 13% black teachers. I know you mentioned it earlier. Do you know what the statewide average is for black teachers?
Not at this moment, sir.
10%. 10%. I looked it up. The statewide average for black teachers is 10%. Houston ISD, which I'll use as a shining example, you know what their average number of percentage of black teachers is? 36%. I looked that up. You know what their dropout rate is? 4%. I don't want to be 4%. I don't want to be HISD. I want to be a shining example. I want to be the district standard. I want to be the place, the premium place where people go to be. And quite frankly, we have a limited budget with limited resources. We have a great place, and let's don't mess it up for everyone else.
Yikes! That was a newly elected member of the board of the third largest school district in Texas, and soon to be fired guy saying that black teachers are responsible for low test scores, and that the way to pull those test scores up would be to hire more teachers that, big quotes, look like us. Then there's this mother who hijacked a school board meeting, also in Texas, to ramble about an anal sex reference in a novel found in a middle school library.
For the boys, pussy or the idea of pussy or the idea of pussy, a Mexican is a Mexican is a Mexican. Take her out back, we boys figured, then hand on the titties. Put it in her coin box, put it in her cornhole, grab a hold of that braid, rub that calico. You can find that on page 39. Of the book called Out of Darkness, which you can find at Hudson Bend Middle School and Bee Cave Middle School. All right, not gonna lie, I had to Google cornhole because I have the game in the back of my yard.
Coincidentally, the book in question, the 2015 young adult novel Out of Darkness, is about an interracial relationship between a black boy and a Mexican-American girl amidst the extremely racist backdrop of 1930s Texas. But I'm sure that had nothing to do with it being singled out as dangerous pornography. Also, not for nothing, but the book was not part of any curriculum. It was merely available in the school's library. You know what else is available in most school libraries in Texas? Mein Kampf. It's funny how that never gets brought up. Not enough anal sex in Mein Kampf, I guess. Anyway, you've seen the clips, countless infuriating clips of K-12 parents losing their turds over a fundamental misunderstanding of everything from critical race theory, a completely manufactured fake crisis you can watch us explain here, or click the thing, or whatever, or mask mandates, or, God forbid, the existence of LGBTQ people.
CRT is not an honest dialogue. It is a tactic that was used by Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan on slavery very many years ago to dumb down my ancestors, so we could not think for ourselves.
Your children and your children's children will be subjugated!
No mask mandates. My children will not come to school on Monday with a mask on. All right? That's not happening. And I will bring every single gun loaded and ready to, I will call every...
That's 3 minutes.
Did that lady just threaten to shoot up a school if there was a mask mandate? The answer is yes. Fun fact, the board she was threatening there had already voted to make mask wearing optional. So like, what the fuck is happening here? Why are there so many conservative parents freaking the fuck out at school boards? What is so fucking scary about mask mandates in high schools or the terrifying prospect of diversity? Just watch this struggling alabaster tea kettle who screamed a bunch of disconnected nonsense in response to an equity statement by a Florida school board.
One additional comment. The school board recently adopted an equity statement. Why? Your only job is education, not indoctrination. Attention board members. Our nation is a republic. We are the people. We have a voice. Our votes are our weapons, and we will use them in 2022 and beyond. We in the military, our blood, our sweat is the equity. It is courage, character, not color, not gender, that makes this nation great. Working Americans are united. We are not divided. Stop trying to incite division among us. We are Americans first, and we will be free always!
For reference, the statement that drove this man to slobberingly draw a line in the sand like a bloodhound with an art scholarship reads, in part, each student, regardless of race, ethnicity, poverty, disability, language status, undocumented status, religious affiliation, gender identity, and sexual orientation, will have access to the opportunities, resources, and support they need to imagine, nurture, and achieve their dreams. And that the board is committed to dismantling racism and other systems of oppression and inequity. You know, you gotta stop those dangerous ideas from infecting America's precious children. Sorry, again, precious white children. Come on, get it right. Okay. This recent spike in deafeningly ignorant parents' rights activists is partially a result of the line between Facebook parenting groups and anti-vax groups becoming very blurry during the pandemic. According to a study from George Washington University, Facebook's internal mechanics pulled parenting groups closer to COVID-19 misinformation by way of so-called wellness groups that purport to offer alternative healthcare solutions, but are actually vibrating rats' nests of disinformation. To wit, the study also found that these alternative wellness communities were subsequently exposing mainstream parents groups to fringe conspiracy theories, like government mind control programs executed via fluoride, chemtrails, and 5G towers. You know, the kind of wacky kazoo toots that land you a gig inspecting Alex Jones's toothbrushes for recording devices. And this misinformation is being fed directly to parents groups under the pretense that it's the secret knowledge that will keep their kids safe. And it's working. The Florida-based Moms for Liberty is a political lobbying group masquerading as a grassroots parental advocacy group, staunchly opposed to any kind of COVID protocols being observed in classrooms. For the past year and a half, the group has been using Facebook to rile up their base and attract new members. In an embarrassingly uncritical Newsweek article from this year, Moms for Liberty co-founder Tiffany Justice said, "We want the masks off of the kids. Masking, quarantining, all of that should be at the sole discretion of the parent. If your children are sick, keep them home. It's what's been done for years and years and years. If children are sick, keep them home. If they're healthy, send them to school." Justice isn't interested in the will of the parents who, say, don't want their kids to catch a deadly virus responsible for the worst pandemic of the past 100 years. Sure, they can choose to send their kid to school with a mask on, but if the rest of the students aren't wearing masks, it's way less effective. And I'm not sure if you know anything about kids, but they tend to pressure their peers. So the only recourse is to keep their child at home. But that particular parent's right wouldn't count because they don't align with Justice's "masks are the devil" mandate. Worse than the devil, the shrimp devil. Incidentally, Justice co-founded Moms for Liberty with Tina Descovich in 2021 after Descovich lost her school board seat to a pro-mask opponent. The group has chapters in 195 counties and has been a major political force in recent elections, most notably in helping secure Glenn Youngkin's victory in Virginia's gubernatorial race last November. And hey, wanna bet whether Moms for Liberty is banging their loud, ignorant pots about critical race theory? Well, bet it all on, of course they are, because of course they are. In fact, in that same Newsweek article, Justice said, social and emotional learning is a vehicle that's being used to influence curriculum and to kind of weave critical race theory and other types of critical theory, including gender theory, into our children's education, and parents have had enough. Now, the Newsweek article doesn't bother to contextualize or comment on Justice's rambling nonsense statement because the article is bad and irresponsible. For instance, a quick, "explain what you mean by any of that," would have gone a long way to expose Justice as either ignorant or a bad faith actor, or both. But I want you to cut through all that gibberish and focus on the phrase social and emotional learning. Notice how Justice is deriding the concept of social and emotional learning as a bad thing, as though it's something not to be trusted, rather than a vital part of any child's development. Tuck that under your newscaps, because it's going to come back later. Oh, boy is right, you cheeky title monkey, you! And conservative politicians rally around these concerned parents, because if anyone is going to protect this nation's children, it's the grand old party. Pappy Cowboys Party, the party of law and order and good Christian values. Conservative PACs are dumping tons of money into school board races to control what can and can't be taught to students in grades K through 12. More specifically, what those students can and can't be taught about American history with respect to slavery, the genocide of the country's indigenous population, and general white supremacy. I wonder why that is, unless I don't wonder why. But what's really messed up is that it's working. Schools have been all but bullied into removing mask mandates regardless of what the latest COVID research and statistics say. Conservative lawmakers sprang into action to pass legislation banning critical race theory from schools in 16 states so far, with more legislation in more states likely on the way. School boards have been pulling books that were deemed inappropriate from school libraries, including Art Spiegelman's Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel Mouse, which is a book about the fucking Holocaust. We're banning fucking Holocaust books from schools because they're inappropriate. And Florida, of course, passed the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, which prevents any discussion of gender or sexual orientation in kindergarten through third grade classrooms. It also prevents those discussions in upper grades in any manner not considered age appropriate. If you're wondering what the fig butt that means, so am I. What is considered age appropriate? Age appropriate for whom? Who decides what is and isn't age appropriate? The law doesn't say. We actually did a whole video on that in case you don't recall. And now, at the time of this writing, more than a dozen states are considering similar legislation, including Texas, because Texas is always going to Texas. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.